we have a very important issue to discuss. We are beginning our conversation with the issues surrounding press freedom. It's a very familiar story, one that many can easily associate with, particularly those who have lived long enough and had seen Ghana transition from the colonial era through a democratic rule back to military rule and back to democratic rule once again. It's a very familiar trend. Every once in a while, we see journalists, pressmen, ordinary Ghanaians being attacked either by men in uniform or by ordinary individuals, mostly politically connected ones. And in recent times, we've seen that play out quite strongly. In this year alone, there's been a number of such attacks, and it's no surprise that the GJA is demanding some form of sanctions. They want to see some specific actions taken against the individuals. We've also heard from the president, and we'll start off the conversation by looking at what the numbers are looking at since January this year alone. And I want to start with you first from what we saw just happen just last month. We are in a new month, just last month. The 2025, the July demolition exercise that took place. A Joy News journalist and the interviewee were assaulted by military men. Men were wearing military uniforms. We are told that they were been seconded to national security, a national security exercise that was taking place. They attacked the journalist and also the interviewee who was being interviewed by the journalist. Very unfortunate exercise. It's one that triggered lots of comments. We can go back to the Ablekuma North elections as well, where 3 journalists were attacked. The first is Kwabna Ajekum Banaheni, a GH1 journalist. You recall that video went viral. We all saw what happened. A police officer slapped him. That officer was interdicted by the police service. We are told investigations are still ongoing. That has not come to any conclusion yet. Salimati, a journalist at Joy News, was assaulted by thugs who disrupted the voting process still during the Ablekuma North limited exercise that took place. Again, Vida Weafi Amasan of Amasan TV, Vida Weafi of Amasan TV, ATV, was attacked with pepper spray by security personnel, leading to a collapse. Very unfortunate incident. Very young journalist, virtually her first time on the field, actually, from what we've learned from those who work closely with her. And that unfortunate incident happened over there. We can move further there and look at May 2025. So we are going a step back and you see what again happened. Joy News' Latif Idris was attacked by supporters. This had to do with the arrest of the NPP Ashanti Regional Chairman Wuntumi. And Latif Idris is one familiar name that we all know because a couple of years ago, he was brutally assaulted by policemen at the police headquarters. The matter was, the police was petitioned to investigate the matter. Nothing came out of it. He decided to take a civil action against the police service. That matter is still pending in court. Those who know Latif very well will tell you that Latif, since that incident, has been unable to work even 3 out of 5 days in a week. He goes 1 or 2 days, he goes off, he comes back to work. Again, he was covering this particular event at the Economic and Organized Crime Office, and he was attacked by supporters. In February of 2025, at least 5 journalists were assaulted during the coverage of the Council of State elections that took place. And that was also another one that got a lot of people talking. They didn't make the national headlines like some of those stories, but it's a very unfortunate incident that happened. But we see that it's not something that is just limited to press attack. It's a general abuse of rights that is an issue of concern. And I want to take you to a U.S. State Department report on human rights, just the latest version issued in 2023, and just see how it summarizes how rights are generally dealt with here in Ghana for you to see what happens. It says, significant human rights issues included credible reports of cruel, inhumane, or degrading treatment or punishment by the government or on behalf of the government, arbitrary arrest or detention, serious restrictions on freedom of expression and media freedom, including violence or threats of violence against journalists, and unjustified arrest or prosecution of journalists. And so that is how the report summarized the state of human rights in Ghana. The last time the report was issued was in 2023, and we are in 2025, and we see a similar trend playing out again. And it's one issue that we want to focus on this morning and deal with before we delve into the other issues of concern. And so it's very important for us to look at it and see that this is a major issue of concern that we must focus on and discuss to try and understand why this keeps happening. What can we do to change the trend? Many of you, sometimes when it happens, you justify it by calling out the kind of practice of journalism that people engage in, saying that, well, if you engage in unethical journalism, that is what should be your penalty. So one question that we'll put to the experts that will be engaging. But we'll also see from the trend that it just goes beyond media practitioners. It's a cultural thing, because the Joy News journalist who was interviewing an eyewitness, the eyewitness, when the military men arrived, they went straight to the eyewitness first before they even came back to the journalist. That begs the question that someone is granting an interview. How does that person become a subject of such an attack. So it's an issue of great concern. And the Ghana Journalists Association is demanding some answers. We can take a listen to the president of the GJA, give some deadlines to the Ghana Police Service and the military to get to the bottom of these matters.
If the Ghana Police Service fails to act decisively within the next 7 days, as already stated, the GJA, in consultation with key stakeholders, will announce a nationwide media blackout of all police activities. We will instruct our members to withhold coverage of police events, refuse participation in police press briefings, and suspend all forms of editorial engagement involving the failure to do so will leave us with no option but to advise all media houses across the country and our members to boycott all police-related activities and declare them as enemies of press freedom. And we will declare them as enemies of press freedom in the country. This is not a threat. And I want to reiterate that, Mr. IGP and your men in uniform, this is not a threat. It is a necessary action to defend the dignity and safety of every Ghanaian journalist.
That's the GJA president. They're demanding some action there. And those who follow the news space, you realize that last year he made a similar call as well. A couple of years ago too, we've seen the GJA make such similar calls. And that tells you that it's something that is not just limited to the government in power. It goes beyond governments, and we see it happening a number of times. Joining me in the studio this morning for the discussion segment, Abraham Amaliba. He's a legal practitioner, a member of the National Democratic Congress, as well as the Director General of the National Road Safety Authority. Mr. Amaliba, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
Next to Mr. Amaliba is Kwame Jantua. Kwame Jantua is a legal practitioner, energy analyst, also a member of Kwame Nkrumah's own political party, the Convention People's Party. Mr. Jantua, good morning.
Good morning.
Any comments on anything?
Well, today I'm in my alma mater's attire.
The only college?
Yes, the only college in Ghana, Adisado College. We are laying to rest Adikoka. He was a year ahead of me in Adisado.
Okay. Oh, wow.
So my schoolmates, my classmates, we were going as one block. So
okay.
I have to be there.
Yeah. Our condolences to the family. Chairman Adikoka, as he was called. We all know him very well. Also joining us in the studio, Ebo Bachman. He's a senior communicator with the Movement for Change. He's also an economic and financial analyst as well. He supports the small team dwarfs and the bigger team.
I want to.
How are you doing?
I'm doing fine.
Right.
I'm doing fine.
Doc is also with us in studio. Dr. Kwabena Bomfe is a lecturer at UPSA. Just over the weekend, I was reading your case, the Cathedral one, and the one you took to the Supreme Court. I was doing a research on an issue and I had to look into it. I'm sure some of the matters you raised, if the court had agreed with you, maybe the amount of money that we saw eventually happening, because some of the pronouncements that the Attorney General at the time made to the court in terms of the state's limited contribution, it all turned out to be false. You agree, right?
Well, the court chose to, close its eye to the facts we presented before them and decided to rather meander into matters that we had not brought before them. Bottom line, it was a decision of the court. And as it sits now, they endorsed what was happening. Parliament had endorsed it. And by the decision of the people of this country in the 2020 general elections, Ghanaians on the whole, including myself for campaigning for Akufo-Addo in that year's election, we endorsed it. And that is why I say that we need to be very careful when we are talking about that matter, so that we don't further expose our hypocrisy as a people.
We'll see how that plays out.
It's the beginning of a new month, huh?
Yes.
1st August.
Yes, 1st August.
4 months to the end of the year.
Oh.
A lot has happened in this month. So we wish everybody a happy August, and hopefully, by the end of this year, certain indicators would be able to make people have a good Christmas.
Yeah.
Especially on the economy.
Yes, we all hope for that. I want to start a discussion. I'll start with you, Mr. Jantua, and for good reason. As part of research, I looked into this book. I Spoke for Freedom, History and Politics of the Ghana Press. It's a book by someone I know very well, but I will not say anything beyond that. Cabral Blame here. Cabral Blame here. Yes, His Excellency. It's a book that, very interesting book. It captures the history of the Ghanaian press. And on page 80 of the book, he recounts some of the things that happened in the past. And I just want to read this. He says, I worked as editor of the Free Press between 1984 and 1986. And within that short period, the publisher Tommy Thompson and research writer Kweku Baku Jr. were arrested and detained without trial for months. Tommy Thompson, his editor John Kublenu, and columnist Mike J. had earlier on in 1982 been arrested and detained for 1 year. John Kublenu could not suffer the strain of detention and died 2 weeks after his release. Tommy Thompson's health equally suffered. I also recall this day when Kwesi Pratt Jr., for merely asking a harmless question at a budget briefing at the Ministry of Information, was arrested and sent to Navrongo prison, where he spent months in detention and missed the outdooring of his twins. Kwesi Pratt Jr., Tonya Kotampao, Ralph Kugbe, and Kwame Kakari and Kweku Baku Jr. were again all detained in April of 1986 for exercising their fundamental human right to speak on national issues. Their arrest was the last straw in a positive defiance of the Free Press, which folded up with a famous last edition, The Last Tango, crying out how low Ghana had sunk in press freedom. And he's someone, Cabral is someone I've interacted with a lot. And Mr. Jantua, if you talk to him from the period that we are looking at here, 70s into 80s, and you look back at what we did with the 1992 Constitution, the safeguards that we wanted to put in place, and what we see playing out now, someone like him, it comes as a surprise to him that we still see this happening. It shouldn't be happening.
Good morning. Let me ask the question. When you look at from the time that Mr. Blay talks about, and you look at today, and you look at the political trajectory with regards to politics and journalists, would we say politicians now hold a higher ground in terms of how journalists are treated? I think we've been able to move gradually away from the political angle of the challenges between journalists and politicians. It is still there to some degree, but it is not as rampant as it was previously. At the current moment, one does not understand why the security services would want to hurt journalists. Because as they are equally important to handle events, journalists are equally important to do what? Report particular events where the army is or where the security forces are. So really and truly, I don't understand why somebody of the security services will have a whip and whip people. Even if it's not a journalist, an ordinary person. I don't see where that kind of mindset is, that you've got to whip people, especially being a security man. It does not make sense to me. Yours is to protect the law. And in protecting the law, you've got to protect the citizen. So if the citizen is being unruly and doing things that are untoward, yours is to do what? Is to arrest. Let me ask the question. The army, do they have the right of arrest in urban areas? I don't think so. I think probably in specific cases, what they've got to do is to hand whoever they arrest to the police. It is up to the police to handle those types of infractions.
Would you blame that on the kind of deployment? Because ordinarily, you have military men who have been seconded to National Security Secretariat, and National Security is doing a demolition exercise, so they go over there. So in their minds, because of that duty, if something interferes with it, they can pick the person and take the person away. Like
what did the journalists do wrong? What did the journalists do wrong? Was there provocation? Did the journalists provoke anybody there? What tool did the journalists have? Camera, recorder. It is their tools of work. And they have the duty and responsibility to report to people watching? Is that not their responsibility? We sitting here, is it not your responsibility as a journalist to question us? It's your responsibility. So if I get up right now and say, Akable, you said something and I slap you, is it right? It's not. Nobody has the right to assault anybody. Nobody. Not even a soldier or a policeman. Because you are an embodiment of the law. That's why I think the police is not a police force. The police is a police service. The army is a force. And what is their responsibility? Protection. They protect the country. And sometimes I don't understand why you invite the army into some of these things. It goes to show the police have abrogated their responsibility as a service. And because of that, people don't tend to respect the police. And people don't see the police doing the kind of work they are expected to do. I always use UK as an example. The UK policeman, no whole gun. The only thing he has is a button on his side and his, his protective gear and his identification camera that, now in the UK, if they arrest you, they need to be able to show the process of arrest and all that. But when you see the policeman, you are scared because he's an embodiment of the law and he would quote the law to you before he arrests you. Does that happen here? So unfortunately, the police service hasn't been able to show the kind of reverence of the law that they are supposed to handle. So people don't respect the police. And hence, in situations like this, we call the army in. The army have no responsibility within an urban area, not unless it is special. So let me ask the question. The demolition of that building, did they need the army to be there? Did they foresee problems? And if they foresaw problems, isn't it the police they should have brought there? And I really don't understand why an army officer would do what? Take a whip, questioning a journalist and whip the journalist. For what reason? I don't think in our laws, and AB, remind me if I'm wrong, we don't have grievous bodily harm in our laws.
There is.
There is? Grievous bodily harm. Yeah. In the UK, you can be charged for grievous bodily harm. And isn't that grievous bodily harm? Even if I've done something wrong, you don't have the right to whip me. Yeah. It's not yours to whip me.
In fact, we know that they have to use justifiable force in appropriate circumstances to contain the situation.
Justifiable force.
Like in this instance, someone granting someone an interview just came in and straight with a whip.
For what reason? Yeah. Just like the last time, Ablekuma, you are telling a journalist to move from there, then you slap him. Yeah. What if he slapped you back? What would you say? You say he's infringed on the law because you are the law.
Yeah. In fact, I remember one of popular criminal law cases, Asante versus the Republic. The policemen had been sent to pick up Asante, and they didn't put him under lawful arrest. He beat up the policeman mercilessly, tore the policeman's uniform. He was taken to court. The court said that by virtue of the failure to put him under lawful arrest, the gentleman was justified in resisting that arrest.
Yes, invitation to treat. You brought it and I also responded.
Let me come to Doc. And Doc, there's one material I came across where the author tries to explain the situation by making reference to what he thinks is the military culture. He says that the Kalabule era, when the military were deployed basically to go into the markets to force traders to sell products at the right prices, they were whipping people up and all those things. He said that emboldened people in uniform that they can go into the civilian space and take the law into their own hands in a manner that the courts don't do that. And the person believes that that is what has wrapped off the other security agencies over time. And now we see it happening. So it's not something that if you look through the data, you see police, you see the military doing that as well. Would you agree with that proposition?
I haven't read the background to it, so I am unable to agree or disagree. However, my own view is to begin with posing the question, how conversant our security men and women are with the law, establishing their various offices, their responsibilities, and the obligations they owe to the country on the whole and citizens in particular. we are talking about this matter this morning because of a supposed national security sanctioned exercise. As we speak now, this happened on Monday, the 28th of July. Have we heard any clear message from the national security outfit on this matter?
Directly, no. We've seen
haven't.
one from the presidency and one from the army, but not from national security.
The army. What did
Those
they?
guys are the army.
They are military men. So when the presidency issued the statement, the military issued a statement saying that in line with the directive, they are conducting the investigation.
Good. But it was not the army that sent them. As you said in your intro, these are people who are seconded to the national security outfit. So the outfit that is supposed to have put them out, has that outfit come out?
No.
Were they engaged in a lawful activity, or they were just abusing the name of the state because of the uniforms that they wear? The uniform they wear carried the coat of arms, the police, the military. They are the only ones who wear the coat of arms in their uniform. So by virtue of that uniform, and there's another case where for attacking a policeman, the civilian was seen as attacking the republic. And appropriate sanctions were applied by the courts against that person. So, are they aware of the burden of responsibility they carry when they wear the coat of arms? In their obligations to the state and their responsibility towards the protection of citizens and property. The demolition exercise, to begin with, should be of interest to us. Who authorized it? In whose name was it? Did any court sanction it? And if not, the affected persons, and in this case, McDonald, I want to advise that by now, he and his lawyers should be taking some action. The journalists who were beaten or affected, by now those media houses and the individual journalists should be heading to court. I happened to be in a studio where one of them came ahead of me to speak. When I got there, I asked the anchor whether the gentleman had gone to the police to be issued a medical form before he went to the hospital, as they were, claiming that he was going to the hospital. At any rate, you always have within a population people who will disregard the law, no matter how much they know it. And that is why there is retributive justice to make sure that those who go against the law are brought in check. And I think that it is important that we exercise that right so well.
Okay.
It is good that the president has spoken. But I heard the president of the GGA already. The average annual incidence of assaults on journalists has been crossed. Less than half the year. They said there's an average of 12 assaults over time per year. And this year, in less than 6 months or about less than 7 months, we have crossed that line of 12 with 14 incidents and so on and so forth. So it raises a question. And this is not the first time the president is addressing a similar matter. Is it that the security forces, in this case, the military forces and the police service, and just to make a point that Kwame raised. Ghana, we initially had a Ghana police force. In 1971, there was a transition to make it police service for good reason. There's a paper by Professor Kwesi that speaks to that. There's a reason why it has become a service. They mingle with us, the civilians. And there can be no better policing without the collaboration of the citizenry. Their work is as good as how well they collaborate with us. Now, if they lose public trust, and journalists who should be reporting and collaborating with you in your activities are scared of coming close to you, then it's a matter for concern and for us all to worry about. So it's important we bring that aspect out. What has happened has happened. But my question is this. Do we develop by repeating mistakes? Nana Kwabena Nketia Defe, at a function in Takrady in 2014, reminded the young people there that development does not take place when you live with repeated mistakes. To develop is to avoid making mistakes or avoid a repetition of mistakes. It's becoming one too many. And I want to say that those who have chosen to serve the nation by wearing the uniform that the state put on them. Some of you may have gone there because it was about bread and butter. But I beg you, now we have put a certain responsibility on you. Don't disappoint the appointor by being a disappointing appointee. Live to your obligations, live to your dictates. And us, as citizens, we must also not relent in our duties as citizens by holding them responsible and accountable.
Okay. Let me come to AB now. And AB, I mean, there are those who blame you, the politicians, and they blame mainly the two main political parties, the NPP and the NDC. I mean, basically, you've been governing us since 1992, but each time you are in power, we see basically the same trend playing out. And there are those who make the argument that sometimes the assault is done by individuals who align with your political parties, and so the security agents are not able to investigate the matters properly, and that's why this keeps happening.
I can believe. In this matter, where is politics in it? In this particular matter, try as you can.
Yeah.
Where is politics in this matter? It's about state institutions that have woefully failed.
Yeah.
And Kabila and Jantua have spoken about institutions which have had their names changed. But don't just change institutions' names, change the curriculum that was used to train them as well. So if you change from police force to police service and you are still using the police force curriculum, you've not changed anything. I've asked myself, this military, security agencies, in their curriculum, do they teach them democracy, good governance, and media law? I want to find out. I want to find out. Because we are in a democratic setting. Your institutions must mirror the democracy that we are in. But you have your institutions that are still colonial in nature, dictatorial in nature, reflecting previous, these things that you read from Blay were reflecting a military regime at that time. Certain time. Your institutions have not been reformed to reflect the current situation. Command and control in the barracks. And that's what they use to come out. When they come out of their barracks, that's what they implement. That's what they do. Their behavior is that way. Command and control. So in the military, once an army officer or an officer who has authority to say something says it, you don't argue. You obey. So you listen to this matter. I think they were driving away the media man, and the media man asked, I'm here to do my work, or said, I'm here to do my work. In the barracks, you can't say that. You can't say that in the barracks. So the psyche, the mindset of the people are still colonial and dictatorial in nature. You definitely have what is happening. You change your name of an institution, you don't change the curriculum.
Back to square one.
Back to square one. Look, I don't know whether they still do it. Do you know that if they go for enlistment, it's the person who can run very fast and become first who is chosen? But in this day and age, do we run to catch thieves? Are you getting simple analogy?
You mean in the
do we run those days in the towns? A policeman will see running catching thieves. Do the thieves nowadays? Do you even see them? to even run. They are now on computers and taking money. AI. So if your training is still to who can run first, your security will be behind. So it's a gamut of all things, but I'm happy the president has intervened because I think that this government is more of a media practitioners government. The previous government was a lawyer's government, you know, and I cannot be proud of that performance. So
the GJ already says that the yearly figures,
sure,
the victims already crossed those numbers.
Yeah.
I mean, that cannot be.
And that's what I'm saying. I'm happy the president has intervened, and his intervention is that he has to meet the two sides. Now, my worry is that the military also has not covered itself in glory, to be honest. The statement that came out from the military fell short of saying that those officers that were seen on video should be interdicted. And you remember I came here to commend the police for a swift action. The way they dealt with the police officer who slapped GH1.
But the GJ is even raising issues with.
Yeah, but that is even, you know, you see, one institution has done something which you can see, even though they are massaging it, but at least you can see
something for the optics.
But the army fell short of interdicting these people and telling them to step aside. Now, if they are going to continue deploying these soldiers, won't they continue slapping people? So, I think that if they are listening to me this morning, there's nothing wrong. They should interdict those people, let them stay aside. The president has asked you to investigate the matter, and you actually do good investigation if the people are asked to stay at home whilst you investigate. That, for me, will give hope and confidence to the GJA.
Okay.
The next thing is that we need to constantly, as a nation, remind our security forces that the uniform they are wearing is temporary. I have seen, me here, I've seen a landlord who became a tenant before me. So if you are a military man today, you are a policeman today, definitely you remove the uniform. So we need to be hyping that into their mindset and let them understand that the uniform you are wearing is not to use it to harass innocent citizens. I've heard people say that some of your colleagues are also unprofessional. Yes, we know that. But is the answer to beat? Is the answer to beat? Yes, there are most of you, some of you, I don't know whether it's most of you, are unprofessional.
I think we can work with some.
Some of you are unprofessional. But the answer is not to beat. We are not in the jungle. So I think this should be the last. Particularly when our democracy is touted as one of the best in Africa. All these things take away. They chip away the confidence that the international community has in Ghana. And the military must stamp its authority on this matter, deal with the matter, and ensure that the perpetrators are brought to book.
And Ebu, I mean, what's your own understanding of why this keeps happening? Maybe you can pick up from his point about the claim of unprofessional conduct that mainly is the justification that some of these individuals put out there. But in this context, the videos that we saw, I mean, they didn't even have any proper engagement. I'm so sure they didn't even hear what was being exchanged between the interviewer and interviewee.
Yeah, let me start off by asking you this. If you close your eyes, what do you see? If you are to close our eyes, what do you see?
Nothing.
We see nothing.
Darkness.
That is what will happen to the society without journalists. That should tell you how important journalists are. They are the eyes of the society and the years of the society. There are a lot of things that have happened in this country that would not have come to the open if journalists had not, gone down deep to bring them out. So, if you have such an important institution, and all that you want to do is to always abuse them, to exert unnecessary force against them, then we have a problem as a society. Because as you rightly started with, if under military rule we had such situations, then we expect that once we've moved to a democratic dispensation, we shouldn't have anything close to what happened. And what we are witnessing is quite disturbing. And let me also commend the president for his swift condemnation and a directive to the military to take action. And I think a similar statement was also issued against the policeman who slapped a young man. We need some of these things, but we need to go beyond these directives. We should make sure that those who infringe upon the rights of journalists are dealt with according to law. We should be seeing prosecutions, not just maybe go and sit home some 3 months, or people should be sent to jail for beating journalists. If you go to advanced countries, beating a journalist is a very serious crime. And in Ghana, our constitution and the Criminal Offences Act protects the journalist. So the issue has to do with the enforcement of the law. You see, the issue, press freedom is not just a media issue. It is a constitutional right that is guaranteed and protected under the Constitution, 162 of the Article 162 of the Constitution. And so, if the whole Constitution sees the need to protect someone, and that person's right is being abused, then we shouldn't sit down for such a thing to happen. Can you imagine the media not playing its role as a pillar of democratic accountability? Look at the kind of corruption cases that have come up because journalists investigated. But for journalists, some of the major corruption cases that came up would have gone under the cover of darkness. So that should tell you we are fortunate to have a responsible journalist in this country, even though some are not responsible, but the majority are responsible. And therefore, there's the need for us to protect them. But the question is, how do we protect journalists from some of these brutalities? AB mentioned the kind of training they've been having. But the question is, the kind of education they've been, the authorities are giving to those who come for training to be recruited. See, they are trained 6 months. After 6 months, you join the force or you join the service. The question is, after 6 months, do we take them through training again, or the first 6 month training is enough to carry them throughout their lifetime as officers? What kind of engagement have you had between the security agencies and the media? What has been the role of National Media Commission, right? Can we as a nation see if we can give them some legal teeth whereby they can initiate investigation?
The Media Commission?
Yes.
They have the power to go.
Yeah, but they are very challenged. In fact, in this book, they can't even monitor.
Yeah. So
the number of radio stations and TV stations we have currently.
Yes, and refer those cases to the Attorney General's office. Even if you are to give them power of subpoena, let's give so that they can subpoena people to appear before them to answer questions in relation to abuse of journalists and all that. I believe we can do better for our journalists in this country. Okay. The Constitution has made provision. The Constitution protects them, but let's enforce the laws and let's also help our journalists wherever you find them and they are being attacked. Let's go to their aid, because as I said, without them, we are blind as a society. And so we need them so that we can, enjoy.
Just a quick addition.
Yeah,
yes,
right.
It's a good thing that the president stepped in. However, once the president has recommended that whoever is a culprit should be dealt with, do we hear of the case anymore?
No,
We don't.
we don't. I mean,
So
at
how
least
do
the
we know?
GH1
How
one
do we
for
know
instance,
that?
yeah.
How do we know that what is supposed to be done has been done? So it's not just one thing about, okay, we've arrested the person, we've said, the process should be seen to be working. If I slap Bonfe right now, he has the right to report me and take me to court. Let alone somebody who is in a service. He is supposed to uphold the law, and he's done that kind of act. Oh, we need to see that the process has gone through.
Yeah.
And I think that is one thing that the people do not seem to understand why it is not followed up.
Okay.
So the president has given the order, the follow-up. Will it happen?
Yeah, and AB, I mean, in looking through some of the instances, one thing that I also noticed is that sometimes it's not just men of uniform. We also see party supporters, people who are not in uniform, ordinary people, also do the same thing. I mean, Ablek Manot, there was a Joy News journalist. These are ordinary Ghanaians. They just don't want, they are not comfortable with the journalists there. They want to take up their hands and beat them up as well. I mean, it appears not just the uniform emboldening people.
Yes, there have been instances where party members have also attacked the media. And what I can say on that is, it is not as if that is a party position, that when you go, attack media. So most of the time, when this has happened, you have executives of the party stretch a hand, go to the media house, and try to have some rapport with them, disassociate themselves from the taggery, and then we move on. Now, that for me, where you have ordinary party men and women engage in those dastardly acts, as me, I see those ones as purely criminal.
Okay.
It's just the same thing like when parents go to attack teachers in the classroom. Are you following?
Yeah, yeah.
The same thing as when relatives of patients go to attack nurses and doctors. You treat it purely as a criminal matter. And those ones, I think that the police should enforce those ones.
Okay.
But where you have uniformed men, engaging in that act, it negates the state's, principle of living as one people. And so if you have this matter that we are talking about in place, state institutions must ensure that you exact punishment on those personnel. I'm receiving comments, my soldier friends are saying that they disagree with me.
What are they disagreeing with exactly?
But my civilian friends are saying it's okay.
Because if it is the training point they are disagreeing with, then the question is, if the training is fine, why do we still keep seeing it happen?
So that is it.
Let me ask.
Yeah.
So this position you asked AB
yeah.
with regards to party.
Yeah.
So when somebody sits on TV and says what they did to us will meet them boot for boot.
Yeah.
In the next the next by-election.
In fact, there's a video.
In a country, the police will come and arrest you by what you mean by you meet them boot to boot. We just keep quiet.
In fact, there's a video of someone saying that if you see my party, like your party person being attacked, join and attack.
There's the chief whip.
But the thing is
the
thing is that person should be arrested. That person should be questioned. Why do you allow it to happen?
Okay.
Probably the mindset has to change.
I sometimes think that we are dealing with, they relate, but they are not the same. In this instance, we are talking about people who are donned uniforms by us. The uniform they wear are uniforms that we as citizens have put on them. I understand that these days some of them have to contribute to buy their own uniforms. Really? Some of them, yeah. I don't know how, to what extent, but whatever it is, when they wear a coat of arms that ordinarily I cannot wear it, they are putting on themselves a certain responsibility. There's a point that AB made that I need to expand a bit about the curricula in our training institutions. I found through some study I did that the Ghana Police Service, the Immigration Service, Fire Service, who are supposed to have some understanding of the disability law, because there are aspects of the law that go directly to their work. It is not there in their curricula. And so if a person with disability comes to the police station and has to engage with a police officer who is not adequately trained to accommodate such a person, how would they even take their report or take their engagement? And that is why many persons with disability shy away from state activities. So it's important that our state security personnel and the services, they understand that they are us. And this life we live, it is a test, it is a trust, and it is temporary.
Okay. But I'll give you the final word.
This is a brother of mine who is in the military.
You're under attack. Read it to yourself. Don't disturb us.
If a soldier is interdicted, my brother, the military will be weakened, but like just like the police. Sorry, but this is my take. So my own brother is against
He's attacking you.
Well, I'll give you the final word on this topic.
Yeah, of course, as I said, let me reiterate the point. Let me say this. It's also good the president said he's going to engage with the leadership of the leadership of the security service. I think it's something that we need to be doing. We need to be reminding ourselves. We are still learning. And so sometimes there are people who need to be reminded quite often before they get to do the right thing. So if we would have to find a way to always bring the two together so that there will be a kind of interaction. We need to understand their work. They need to understand the work of the journalists. I mean, there should be a point of convergence where there's common understanding that this is the work we expect you to do. This is the work we expect you to do. When they see themselves on the field, I know this is how I need to behave. I know this is how I need to behave. So I commend the president once again on that.
Okay, so that is it by way of our first topic this morning. And like it's been said around the table, we expect to see some action by way of what comes out of the investigation that is taking place. We can now zoom in to the second issue for discussion, and it's the issue surrounding the Office of Special Prosecutor. Most of you should be aware of the latest on that matter now, it being the fact that a former board chairman of the Ghana Airports company, Paul Adomotre, is in custody because he's been investigated for a revenue assurance contract that was signed, we are told, just less than a week to the December elections. And I think 3 days actually before the December elections. And he was invited to come over early in the morning. He, in a video, explained the invitation, his attempts to reschedule the invitation, and the fact that he, as far as he's concerned, he does not know much about the contract. We've heard from a journalist, Manasseh Azuri, who is also investigating the matter, say that, well, look, you know a bit more about the company than you are saying you do. And he, again, we also saw the fact that he went over to the Office of Special Prosecutor. The bail terms, we are told he's supposed to have 2 landed properties in his name of any value here in Ghana. And he had said that, well, he does not have any such property, and because of that, he remains in custody. The OSP has said that he could not meet the terms of the bill. I have heard his lawyers yesterday explain that at the time he was asked about the landed properties, they were not discussing bill, and that it was afterwards that he was informed that, well, because he had said he did not own any landed properties, he was going to remain in custody for not meeting the bill conditions. A lot of issues surrounding that. I'll start with Mr. Jantua on this particular issue. I'll start with him on this. I mean, how do you process everything that is happening? The OSP is in the news once again.
Well, you know something, when this matter actually came up last night, I sat to look at the law. And because I wanted to be exact, I wrote things down, and if you'd permit me.
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
I think we tend to not understand the anti-corruption architecture of the OSP's office and how the law was crafted differently from other institutions like that, because the OSP law is investigative and prosecutorial. They have those two lengths. Now, the OSP and power to arrest. Okay. The OSP, from the investigation I did and what I wrote down, the OSP is mandated to investigate politicians, public officers, their relatives, and close associates, as well as private sector actors who engage in corrupt acts with them. Under the OSP Act, all suspects are subject to lifestyle audits. Legislative Instrument LI 2374, specifically Regulation 21, Form 11A, empowers the OSP to require suspects to declare all properties and sources of income within 30 days. Failure to comply attracts a custodial sentence of not less than 2 years and not more than 4 years. Typically, by the time suspects are asked to declare their assets, the OSP would have already conducted preliminary investigations to identify properties or income streams they believe the suspect owns. Therefore, when the OSP requests disclosures, it is often based on prior evidence. Any property a suspect fails to declare, but which the OSP identifies, is liable to forfeiture. Some suspects, and probably in this case, and let me also say, the suspect is innocent until proven guilty. So I don't want anybody to use my research to say that I'm saying the suspect is guilty. He's innocent until proven guilty. Some suspects attempt to outsmart the system by denying ownership of assets, hoping the OSP lacks the evidence. This approach can be misguided. As investigations may already have uncovered the assets in question. It is also important to note that not every suspect will be required to provide landed property in their name as part of bail conditions. This requirement varies depending on the evidence the OSP has in its efforts to trace and verify assets. Bail conditions are determined on a case-by-case basis. In some instances, it may involve vehicles, and in others, property belonging to a surety. It is not a one-size-fits-all.
This is all in the Act.
So, no, my research I've done.
Okay.
My research I've done. So, it could be that Paul was asked this from the investigations that the OSP had made and the information that they had in terms of ownership of those properties. So, if they indicate that we are arresting you, you need to bail yourself out, and they know you have property that can help bail out, and you don't want to use that property because you say the property is not yours, then find an alternative bail process.
I mean, I don't know why you want to interpret it necessarily to mean the property is not yours. I mean, potentially, you could own the property, but it's not, you are not a legal owner. It's not in your name.
How do you own it?
How do you own it?
I mean, for starters, I mean, if you are in possession of a thing, you are presumed to be the owner. It could be the case that you've inherited it, a vesting assent has
You're
not
not
been.
an owner.
But if you inherited, I inherited my father's house. Is it not mine?
Yeah, but yes, but
the
if
documents are
a
not your
vesting
name.
assent has not been executed in your name, it will not be in your name.
Well, we don't know that.
Yeah, so those are the possibilities we
It
can
is
look
their
at.
word
Those are the
against. It is their word
possibilities. Yes.
against it, and I believe anybody doing such an investigation should be thorough in the information, because you cannot say that you own this property or you own this vehicle or you have this kind of lifestyle without showing evidence. The OSP needs to show evidence on the properties if they are asked. But if you say the properties aren't yours, there are other ways of bailing yourself, aren't there? So why is it that Paul wasn't able to bring other alternative ways of billing himself,
The prosecutor
and decided to languish in custody?
The prosecutor says he is required to present 2 landed properties of no specific value registered in his name. That is the bail condition.
So that was based on the evidence
prosecutor
that they
has
had.
fixed. Yes,
That
and he
was
says,
based-
It's a way to
there's-
trace.
Yes, it's
yes,
a way
and he
to
says,
trace.
I
Yes.
don't have
Yes,
landed properties in my name.
Because maybe because of the evidence they have, they also want to expose that, and exposing that opens the floodgates for other things to come on stream.
I mean, AB, do you find that to be a reasonable bail condition to the extent that you are tying it down to a person's property rights? He has the right to own property, but a person also, because by virtue of it being a right, he can decide that he wants to organize his affairs in such a way that he does not want the properties to be in his name.
You need to look at the institution and its mandate. And this institution we are talking about has the right to trace properties.
That's right.
You know, they in tracing, in part of the process, they have a right to trace where monies have gone and whether you have used those monies to acquire properties. So this type of thing is to put you in a certain frame of mind that will then make you start.
Open you up if you've done anything ultra-virus.
Because you are now going to weigh
Exactly.
this is my property and my freedom.
Exactly.
Which one? And so it will expose whether you have acquired properties with the resources they are talking about.
But tying it to bail, because the regulation that Senior read, they can simply give you a form, you fill the form. If they've done the investigation, your responses are wrong, it amounts to an offense.
Yes.
They can proceed against you.
Yes.
So why do you necessarily want to tie it to the bail, which you are required by law that either you release the person conditionally or unconditionally, or you take him to court within 48 hours?
Not for the 40, it's not yet, we are not yet there.
No, we are not there yet. No, we are not yet there.
We are
No,
not
we just
yet
went
there.
yesterday.
But the thing is that because you have prior knowledge of an investigation you've done, and you know that prior knowledge can bring out other things, you would probably use that, wouldn't you?
Okay. AB.
No, but like I indicated, it's provided in the OSP
In the
law.
LI, yes.
Yes. That some of the properties that can be used for bail is your own property.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
They can trace you all to your
Now-
relatives and everybody.
They might have done their investigations, but they can't find the properties. But they are told there's something. So that's the route they have taken. So for me, if it's provided for in law, I have no problem with it. Uh-huh. You may say the law is unfair, but the law is the law for the time being.
Yeah, but except that the law says that you can use properties that you own.
Yes.
In this instance, the condition is properties in your name. And he says, I don't have a landed property in my name.
There's a proviso there. It says all suspects are subject to lifestyle audits.
Yes.
And that lifestyle audit includes properties. So as the OSP, I can decide that is the route I want to take if you want to bail yourself.
Okay.
So
their
now
right.
what the lawyers can do is either to go to court and say the first condition for bail, they can't meet it because they don't have a property.
Onerous.
They don't have it. If you don't have, you don't have. Uh-huh. And then pray the court to vary this type of thing and give them a bail that they can meet. Probably any surety that they can bring. Uh-huh. So there's nothing wrong. I think that the lawyers know what to do. But I also think that it is important for board members and board directors to know that they stand in a fiduciary relationship when it comes to the companies that they have been asked to go and manage. You know, I heard Paul say that these matters are within the knowledge of the management. It's a management affair. It's not a board affair. But in this instance, the board is supposed, not even supposed, is the supervisory authority over the management. And critical decisions are taken at the board level and trickle down.
Yes.
If you neglect as a board member or board director to assert your authority, it means that you have neglected to protect the company because of the fiduciary relationship that exists.
Okay.
And so you can be hauled at any time, and particularly when decisions are taken without board approval. So sometimes these things do happen and you find yourself in it. I think that there's opportunity for him to actually, as it were, come clean on these matters. And if he has his day in court, if that's what the special prosecutor wants, he will have his day. He will be able to.
Final question before I come to Doc AB. In the morning when he did a video and he said he was going to go, I was having a conversation with a few friends, and every single person said that Paul will be detained today. And exactly that came to pass. Is it good that the office is that predictable, or is just what we expect to happen?
What was the reason why they said that?
Because the reason it was very simple. There were videos in times past. Paul, in his capacity as a broadcaster, had been extremely critical. In fact, some of the comments he had made about the OSP. There's one of such videos I saw yesterday where he was talking about Kiseja being driving a bulletproof armored car and very, very, unpalatable things that he had said in some instances against Kiseja. And so people said that, well, the bad blood is obvious. And once he's walking into that building, everyone said that, well, he's not going to come out.
Was that the reason why they called him?
Not at all.
So why should the OSP go down that line? I don't seem to understand that.
Well,
there's a specific reason why they called him, and it's because of that specific
in respect to the revenue contract. But
so that particular assertion, I
you
don't
disagree with that. I don't know what you make of that predictability.
If Paul can show malice.
In fact, in his video in the morning, he actually accused the OSP of a witch hunt. He says there are those who had been interviewed who were just being asked questions direct, not about the contract, but what did the board chairman say to you? What did the board chairman say to you? And he said that clearly shows that he was a target of the investigation.
No, it doesn't determine how investigations go. It doesn't determine how questions are posed to.
And the board is superior
to witnesses.
Okay.
But if he can show that there's malice in this whole process, and that this whole thing is accentuated by malice, the courts would understand. But if there's also evidence that he has a hand in this matter, it will be difficult for him to extricate himself. So I can understand, and that is why sometimes if you are doing your things, you should be clean, you should be clean, so that if you fall, there's nothing that can. So I know very well that yes, there has been bad blood. There's bad blood before this has come. But if you are also on a certain trajectory, you must also know that you have to cover your back.
There's a proverb about having cotton wool and jumping over fire. Let me come to Doc now. Doc, where do you stand on this issue? I know in times past you've been very critical of.
I am really surprised that we are taking a position about lifestyle audit when the OSP, in all his releases, has not indicated the slightest that he's investigating Paul Adumotre for lifestyle audit. I don't see how it comes in this matter. You see, it's very easy and convenient that when it affects somebody, that we may have whatever feelings we have about based on his lifestyle. We would agree with an ill treatment or mistreatment. The OSP must understand that that office, problematic as the law creating it is, and I've said that many times, perhaps when an action is struck at the Supreme Court, a decision will be made on that, on its constitutionality or otherwise. But given the present circumstances, that it is law and his office is governed by a certain act, is he going according to that act? You say that you are investigating somebody for alleged acts of crime or suspected acts of crime. You invited the person to help you in investigations. First, it was not an arrest. The person gets there and you turn that into an arrest. I'm surprised without warrant, but that is for Paul Adumoche's lawyers to pursue in the court of law. And then you ask the person for bail. The conditions that Kwame read there. There cannot be one option, and that at all costs, that is the only condition for which you must meet bail. And we must understand the philosophy of bail in investigating crime and fighting crime and also prosecuting issues. Are bails intended to punish? No. But from the conversation going on and what the OSP obviously is doing is intended to punish. How can this be fair? How can this be justice? And as far as I am concerned, the issues at hand, where you say is about an award of a contract, which contract you suspect may have cost the nation money, or we didn't get good deal for. Did Paul Adumoche sign the contract? I agree with AB when he talks about fiduciary responsibilities that one owes and all that. But what about the person who directly had the responsibility to?
There are two others here.
There are two others, but the chief executive is not part of them. The two others are all lower. The other person is even the CEO of a private company that is supposed or purported to have benefited from the award. So when you do these kinds of things, it becomes obvious that you're not pursuing justice. Otherwise, that will not be the route that you will take. And you know, at the end of the day, I did a bit search on the OSP since its creation in 2018. It has had in overall 2020 there were 2 cases initiated, 2021 2 cases, 2022 13 cases initiated, 2023 19 cases, 2024 27 cases, 2025 70 cases so far. It's only 7 that we are told they were able to conclude through plea bargaining. It has cost you and I 446 million cedis, according to a report in 2022. And between 2022 and now, I'm sure this figure has increased. The total amount that we have retrieved from the efforts of that office is 4 million. And I did the computing. It's less than 1%. I want to make these points. Wrong cannot be fought with wrong and win. The OSP must remember that the power he is exercising is at the mercy of the state. He will not be there forever.
But Doctor, your analysis on the figures and the recovery, is that a fair way to analyze it? Because they also have preventive measures. There are people who, by mere fact of the existence of the office itself, they may not engage in crime, because we don't do that analysis for the Office of the Attorney General, for instance. We don't take their annual review budget and look at how much has gone in there, the number of prosecutions. Is that fair to do that to the Office of the Special Prosecutor?
Well, I will be very, clear on that. The Attorney General's office is not engaged in the kind of sensational things he does. The last time we sat here and discussed the OSP, all of us here, the 4 of us, It had to do with my brother, Dr. Hamid Mustafa, 2 weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
What has become of that? After all the sensational noise and playing the name around.
Is in court. Charges
Yes, good. So could that not have been the route? Issuing statements, bandying pictures around. Is that the way to do proper work? I believe that with the little readings I've done on fighting crime, it is done on the quiet. When you have attained results, then you expose. Of course, there are preemptive strikes that you will do. I am not pleased with the approach of Kisia Jabin and his team at the OSP, the way they go about things. And it does appear that they are selective in what they are doing. Look, today...
they say they are selective. The office investigated a former president who was campaigning to be president.
And that takes away the fact that they were selective.
Yeah, but you make the accusation of being selective. Selective in what sense?
Well, I have said that, and I'm saying that they are selective. They are selective. They are selective by the nature of the law itself, which I have a problem with. Crime is crime. There's no desegregation.
Okay, no problem.
That is the part of the problem I have with the creation of that law.
Okay.
That is why I feel that if you look at it properly, where there is an amendment of Article 88, which is an entrenched provision and ought to have required a referendum, which wasn't done, there is a problem there. The powers of the police have been given to the OSP. The powers of the Attorney General have been given to the OSP. Okay? And all these have been done without a recourse to the people, who solely have a right to amend Article 88. But that is even not the focus of my conversation this morning. I'm looking at his law and how fair he is to the law on the rise of even the worst criminal who is arrested in this country. He has a right to be heard. 48 hours would come, whatever it will be. You are saying you are investigating. It is almost as if the statements he's making, he has charges against the person. We have seen in the past when he has made similar statements in the public and turned out not to have charges against them in court. And that is what gives me worry. That this makes the man dangerous to society. That hiding behind the power of the state, he's abusing the rights of citizens. And here, regardless of, I'm not a fan of Paul Adumotre. I'm not. He's a friend from afar. But I'm not a fan of his style of journalism and all that. So it is not about him. It's about the issues that we are discussing. Would I want that to happen to me? No. And I wouldn't wish that for anybody here, no matter what anybody thinks.
Okay.
So Kabila says that the chief executive should have been part, but you don't bring in somebody when his actions has not led to criminality. In this particular
I gave a reason.
I want you to hold on. We'll get a response. We'll get a response to that very shortly. We'll get a response.
Chairman signed the contract.
Kabila, hold on for me. We'll get a response.
The chairman signed, the secretary signed, and the third person who is standing, who is part of them, was the beneficiary of that contract.
But he has said he didn't sign the contract. I've heard him say. Yes, he
but
said.
the document shows his signature.
What the document I saw was a board, minutes of a board.
Which
But we'll get some clarification to that.
You have a copy of the contract.
We'll get a clarification to that.
You have a copy of the
Doc, hold on
contract
for me.
signed.
Doc, hold on for me.
The board minutes also.
Let's be careful what we are doing in this country.
Are you satisfied with what the OSP is doing so far? Are you satisfied?
I don't think the law in this country should be made to be a respecter of names and positions. The law is the law. And from where I sit, I don't think the OSP is abusing anyone's rights in this issue.
I said he's abusing the law.
I don't think he's abusing the law. Whatever he is doing it in the interest of the country. And so I've always said, and I want to repeat it in this particular issue relative to Paul Adumotre, that if Paul is clean, let him be vindicated by the process and not by what he says on his show. He's being taken through a process which is allowed by law. And what has the OSP done that is against the law? My brother Kabila spoke and spoke, but you couldn't tell me one single thing in the Constitution the OSP has breached or any law OSP has breached in respect of parliamentary issue. So you see, when it comes to the issue of corruption or corruption-related issues, I told you last time that I don't have sympathy for anyone who is being investigated. If by the end of the investigation you are cleared, so be it. But so long as the OSP, per their investigation, they think you have questions to answer, they have every right to invite you to answer those questions. And so I think that the OSP is doing what is right. You may not like his style. Yes, sometimes maybe he goes overboard with some of his approaches. But the point is that, is he doing something outside what the law prescribes, or whatever he's doing is within the confines of the law that established the office? And so far, nobody has said he's done anything. And the fact that the Poladimotrin and OSP seem to have a problem does not mean that if Poladimotrin has questions to answer, he should not be invited. And so, this issue of you being invited and you being charged, it's not today that is happening. I listened to Professor Frimpong Boateng. When he had written a report on Galamsey, so he had written a report on Galamsey. He was invited by Yoko. Okay. When he got there, they told him. He said while he was sitting there, they just patted him and said, "Prof, you are under arrest. So make sure you get 2 people to bail you." So it is normal. Something that.
Ebo, just hold on for me for a second. Let's get some answers to some of the questions that have come up so far. Joining us on the line is Sami Dako is a legal practitioner. He's also a director at the Office of Special Prosecutor. Sami, good morning. Hello, Sami.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Good morning.
Yes. So I want you to first touch on the issues that you want to address directly, then we can engage afterwards.
Yes, okay. So I specifically called in because we typically do not want to discuss our cases in public, but because of some misrepresentation that is always being bandied around by a particular group of people. So anytime OSP case comes up, you'll find this group of people always start by talking that since 2018 that the OSP was set up, what has it achieved? Now, I'll be very clear to them. Although the OSP was set up in 2018, you'll notice that they had teething problems with the first special prosecutor and the Nana Akufo-Addo administration. Kisi came to OSP, the new special prosecutor, in August 2021. Operationalization of the office, recruitment of staff were done in 2023. And you see that they will go into our own website and they will never even credit us for the transparency that we have done. And it's also because they think they understand the OSP and how it's supposed to work, but they don't. Because at the heart of the OSP law is accountability and transparency. The OSP law mandates the SP to even publish investigative reports. No other agency is allowed by law to publish investigative reports. The OSP law says that the OSP must engage the public. Now, when the special prosecutor and the office are trying to actualize the office, some people tend to say it is showmanship. And they will say the OSP came out to say this and nothing happened. I think Kabila, Mr. Bomb, had made an allegation that the OSP had come out to do certain things and never implement. It's not true. There's not a single case that the OSP has come out to say that did not follow through. And he has said what became of, what's his name, Mustafa Ahmed's case. I don't know whether people just don't pay attention.
No, Sami, we corrected that and indicated that charges have been filed. We cleared that up already.
I understand you, but I need to make a point. I need to make a point to him that in a criminal trial, you need to place you need to charge the person and place the person before court. When you place the person before court, your role as an investigator and a prosecutor is now very limited. The action is now before the law court, and the court will determine whether he's guilty
yes,
or
I mean, we made that point. We made that point. We made that point quite clearly.
And I'm saying that when they talk about the office and say what has the office done, from 2021 till now, the number of savings the office has done, I think our corruption risk analysis alone into customs division of GRA, can he quantify the savings we've done for the state from when Parliament had to even revoke the benchmark value that was giving way for corruption at customs, to when we streamlined the auction sales because they were doing it without the taxes and duties payable, and now they are doing a GRA self-reported over 300% increase in taxes. The suspended contracts that we have written to state agencies to put on hold because we suspect corruption into it runs into millions.
Okay, Sammy, I would want us to narrow in and focus on the issue at hand now, because those are the matters you make reference to are well published in the public domain. The main concern that has come up now in terms of the criticism has to do with the conditions of the bill. If you could explain to us what influenced the decision to tie it down to landed properties in his name and not any other option which is available to the investigative body.
When it comes to recoveries, in Ghana, there are two ways you can make recoveries. You can recover after conviction, and then you can recover if there is a plea bargain. The average criminal trial in Ghana is about 3 or 4 years. The OSP started putting people before court from 2022 up to date. And yet some people expect that the OSP should have by now convicted them, which is not the OSP's job, it's the job of the court. The trials are at different stages in court, in Tamale, in Kumasi, in Accra.
Sammy, I was asking about the conditions of the bill, Sammy.
It will take a while.
Hello, Sammy.
All I'm trying to say is that you do not judge the OSP every day by saying 20
Hello, Sammy.
what has been done. A lot has been done. A lot has been done. Even by establishing the office and making it functional now, it's a lot of achievement. And then on top of it, first they used to say there is no conviction. Now that there is conviction, then they change the argument to, it's just plea bargain conviction.
Sammy, I was asking you specifically, if you can kindly just listen to me, unless you do not want to answer the question I'm asking. I was saying that the matters that you have raised, I mean, they are matters that we are well aware of. You've put some of them to Kabila during the discussion as well. I'm asking that what has attracted the criticism this time around is the condition of the bill. And I'm asking, are you able to provide some clarification on what went into the considerations as against the possible other options that you could have in terms of the conditions of the bill, including having other individuals sign as sureties for him?
There is no criticism. Yes, you can say some people are not happy with bill terms and not. But the point I was calling you and to make is that the OSP has been unfairly criticized. And when they do...
So Sam, you're not going to provide an answer to the question that I'm asking?
We need the opportunity to be able to explain to them that those propaganda won't work. They won't wash. Because the OSP...
I mean, we have heard from the lawyers. We have heard from the lawyers for Mr. Adomocho. That's why I'm putting that question to you directly. Unless you don't want to answer that question.
We've all been defense attorneys before, and then the lawyer has to say everything to help his client come out and all that. The OSP has said a bill term. Mr. Adomocho has not been able to meet the bill term. Mr. Adomocho was invited to come to the OSP not as a person of interest. He was invited to come to the OSP as a suspect. He put out the letter out, and those who have read the letter will see that the letter was directing him to come as a suspect because he's a key suspect in the investigations. And he got his letter on Monday, and he was asked to come to the office on Thursday. We never put out that he's supposed to come at 3 p.m. or not. He called the whole world and said they should come to the office and video it. And yet they will come and accuse the same OSP that it's doing a publicity stunt. Meanwhile, we never called any journalist or anybody to come. So if you come on Thursday...
He accuses the office directly of engaging in a witch hunt. So he says that you are coming after him. He says in your interrogation, you are asking people directly that what did the chairman do? What did the chairman ask you to do? He says that from the onset, he's the target of your investigation.
These are all his own opinions.
Yes, which is why I'm putting them to you.
And then suspects are entitled to the opinions. Remember that it's a fearful thing to fall under the law. So when people are called by law enforcement agencies, they also tend to put up a defense and want to win public sympathy. But for us, we are not looking at public sympathy or whatever you want to gain. We are looking at the law. As far as the OSP is concerned, we have come across evidence that directly point to certain actions of Mr. Adumoche as a board chairman that falls in line with the offenses that we are allowed to investigate.
Okay.
And that is what we are investigating.
Okay. And
I do not want us to draw so much into the details of it because, remember, he has been cautioned, and then Mr. Adumoche will be placed before the court after the legal vacation.
Okay. I want to ask another question, Sammy. We've seen what the other investigative bodies do. They fix the terms of the bill, and if you don't meet the terms of the bill, they basically keep you. We are approaching the weekend. Is there a possibility that the office is open to reviewing the conditions that you have fixed, or if he does not meet it, you are simply going to take the position like the other investigative bodies to hold him until he meets the condition, or his lawyers take the step and go to court?
I think the OSP is a law-abiding institution, and anything that the law allows us to do, we are going to do that. So what it means is that if Mr. Adumoche is not able to meet the bail term, and after 48 hours, I'm sure that it's either he will be placed before the court, because the law says that after 48 hours, the person has to be put before the court so that the court can, if we want to say seek remand, we can do that. Or he himself can go to court and then try to vary the bail term. I think this is all within the context of law. But the point I want to make is that the OSP has not trampled on Mr. Adumoche's rights. The OSP is a law enforcement agency that is into corruption and corruption-related matters.
Finally, Sammy, beyond Paul Adumoche and the named individuals, is the managing director a person of interest or a suspect in this investigation that is taking place?
I do not even understand why the managing director's name is being bandied around by a particular group of people.
The board chairman, the former board chairman, directly mentioned the name. He says that she's the one who signed the contract.
The fact that he mentioned someone's name does not mean that that person may be a subject of investigation. That is he trying to defend himself. We are very professional.
Directly, whether he's a subject of the investigation. That's why I'm asking you directly.
We are doing our job. We know exactly what we are doing. We know the people that there is evidence against, and we know what each of them has done in the course of this investigation, and that is what we are doing. If it means that the MD of the company has to answer, the MD of the company will answer. But it is not up to the suspect to be determining, why have you called this? Why haven't you called this?
Are you able to confirm to us whether she's a subject of this investigation? Are you able to tell us that?
No, I'm unable to tell you that because
that's
that is not a subject that has been put out there by the office. When the office is thoroughly done and there are any other persons that the office would want to place before the court, the office is going to do that. At the moment, the person that the office has identified to be people who have questions to answer and that we are going to be placing before court when the new legal year begins is Mr. Adumoche and the other two persons that we have cautioned so far.
All right.
The point I want to make to the public is that the OSP is not there to take any revenge or to abuse anybody's right. Mr. Adumoche's investigation even came about as a result of the lawful search that we did at FML. That is when we got a number of information about what has happened. So it's not that somebody is sitting down and planning against other people because they've done something against the office in the past. If the office wanted to be vengeful, even under the Nanado administration, there were a number of things that he did that the office could have considered as obstruction of justice. And if it was the office wanted to be vengeful, the office could have gone for Mr. Adumoche. But despite all the insults and the propaganda he did against the office and all that, nothing like that did happen to him. This is because we have come by credible evidence that link him to commission of a crime. And we are just investigating that. And at the OSP, bail condition is dependent on the evidence and what we are looking into. So it is not a one-size-fits-all that if anybody comes to the office, the OSP is going to say, bring landed property. If you don't have a landed property, then we won't grant you bail. No. Every bail condition is case by case and subject to what we are looking for. Mr. Odumoche will be served with the OSP lifestyle audit forms. The whole idea of this lifestyle audit of suspect. And remember that the OSP is investigating usually high-profile cases involving politicians, politically exposed persons, being that the people's wife, children, and close associates, as well as people in the private sector who engage in corruption with these public officials. And so there are certain things that we look out for, that if you are just simply using a case of stealing, say, a goat and a bill term, it won't work, because we are dealing with corruption and high-profile crimes. And we do investigation on your background and everything to know certain things you have that you don't have. So when we are setting a bill term, we set a bill term based on that particular person. Now, people can decide to avoid certain disclosures and say, I would prefer to rather spend some time in jail than say review certain things to us. All I'm trying to say is that nobody sets a bill to punish anybody. All are part of the investigative processes that we are doing to ensure that we are able to completely and competently deal with the case and things involved. You cannot be a subject of investigation at the OSP and not expect that there will be a lifestyle audit on you.
Okay.
Because we are supposed to be an asset recovering institution as well. And we are supposed to trace a person's assets and things that they own, that they don't own, how they came by it. So please, we understand that in the midst of all this, there will be politics, there will be propaganda and all that. But trust me, the OSP is a very professional body. If you find us coming out to talk.
Okay. Thank you very much, Sami. We'll leave it here for now. Sami Darko is a Director of Strategy and Communication at the Office of Special Prosecutor, joining us. I'll let Ebu wrap up, then I'll come to Kabila very briefly, but so that I want him to calm down a bit before. I want you to calm down. I'll come to you. But what do you mean? No, I'll come to you. Don't worry. I'll come to you. So Ebu, just wrap up for me, then I come to Kabila.
You see, the reason why this issues of corruption should be taken seriously is that no matter how we grow our economy, no matter how the private sector or the agriculture sector grows, no matter how the manufacturing sector grows, if you don't deal with the issue of corruption in this country, if you don't empower and encourage those who are helping us to fight corruption in this country, and we keep attacking them, sometimes unnecessarily, we'll be losing out. Because I'm telling you, when people are in the office and taking decisions and doing their deals, we don't see them. We've given these people power to see beyond what we can see. Let's allow them to do their work. And especially when whatever they are doing is within the confines of the law. Let's rather encourage them, support them, so that they catch the thieves for us. We get our money, we develop our country, we go. For me, that should be the way forward.
Okay. Kabila, briefly respond to some of the issues that you wanted to respond to.
My young stay in the public space of this country, especially within the area of partisan politics and public commentary, one of the things I have found is that, and this is documented too, there is much talk about allegations of corruption than substantiated corruption. And it is part of the reason why the public perception of corruption is high. If I were Paul Adumotre, in fact...
Are you saying there's no corruption?
I'm not saying that. Did you hear what I said?
I heard what you said.
Go ahead.
It makes it sound
go ahead, wrap up for me.
Corruption is
wrap up for me.
Is that your interpretation?
That is how I see it.
No,
is that your interpretation?
That is how I see
I need you to
it.
listen to me. Wrap up for me. Respond to
my view is that rather than make corruption talk that cheap, we should thoroughly allow systems to work on the quiet to unearth areas of corruption in this country. One of the things I know is that even audit reports, the ones that get captured, have a basis or a reason why they get captured. And it's a worry. So in this instant case, my worry is that at the end of the day, you say you are investigating the person. it is after you have concluded your investigations that you take the person to court. Mind you, he and they in that office of special prosecutor, office of special prosecutor, they are working at my expense as a taxpayer. They owe it to us to also make sure that they are working diligently, that there's meaning to what we are spending on them.
Okay.
So if you have not finished your investigations, you are inviting the suspect to come and help you. What it means is that without the suspect, your investigations are not conclusive. Otherwise, you should have gone to court. You have not gone to court. And you want it to look as if when the suspect who has come to you is before you, you are at liberty to do what you want with him. My last question is that if I were Paul, I would be there for 48 hours and be charged.
He was invited as suspect.
Okay.
You see?
And
He was invited as suspect.
if you are arrested.
Yes, I mean,
So I'm saying, what I'm saying is that if he is kept there 48 hours, they will be obliged to present him before a court of law, and that will mean being charged or seek to remand him if their investigations are not completed.
Sami made the point that they are going to comply with the requirements of law as an answer directly to that particular
All I'm
issue.
saying is that we
we
should remember that what goes
he said
round
they didn't invite him
comes
as a
round.
person of interest. They invited him as a suspect.
And who said anything to the contrary here?
Look. And so
There
I don't
was a
see.
time when I was growing up, I was asking, my father used to have a motorbike. Then I asked my father, give me the motorbike. He won't give me the motorbike, give me. Then he went and I took the motorbike. Then I fell down. Then when he came back, they were massaging. Then he came and told him that, be careful what you ask for. For when you get it, you may not know how to handle it. When the MPP were doing this law, we spoke against this law. You are going to court attacking special prosecutor. But we all saw that this thing can be handled by the Attorney General. Today, the MPP people are being invited there. I think those are the people that Sami Daku is talking about. These MPP guys, when they invite them there, then it's just like, this is not for us. This is for NDC. It will be for you. We are all in the soup.
Okay, so that is our discussion this morning.
You agree with me?
My guest have been Ibrahim Amaliba. Ibrahim Amaliba is a Director General of the National Road Safety Authority. Kwame Jantua is a legal practitioner, a member of the CPP as well. Ebo Backman is a financial economic analyst with the Movement for Change, and also Dr. James Kwabna Bomfe Kabila, who is a lecturer at the UPSA, also joining us this morning. Just before we go, just some good news for you. It's time to make money the fun way with your nursery ABCs. Yes, the ABC game is here, and it's as simple as dialing *262# on your phone. Pick any 3 letters from A to Z, choose how much you want to stake, even as low as 5 cedis, and boom, you could win 1 million Ghana cedis. Daily draws happen 3 times a day at 10 a.m., 5 p.m., and 9 p.m. So choose your time and test your luck. Get 1 correct letter, you win 2 times your stake. 2 correct letters, that's 5 times your money. If you match 3 letters in any order, you win 100 times your stake. And if you match all 3 letters in the exact order, you walk away with 1,000 times payout. Even if you don't win at all, you get 10% cash back. So you never lose anything. No internet needed, no stress. Just dial *262# and start winning. More than 100,000 people have won within a week. ABC game, life should be as easy as ABCs. It's licensed by the NLA under the Caritas platform. And I've seen AB and Mr. Janto looking at me closely. Very interesting game there. But that is it for our discussion this morning. Special thank you to House of Sedem Classics. House of Sedem Classics for my outfit this morning. Extremely grateful. Stay tuned in. New Day continues.
Every day, people have money emergencies. Ma, I need my school fees emergency. Mommy chop money emergency. Emergency. Catch it. I'm in the rent emergency. Now, there's a new emergency number in town. Dial star 770 hash for all your money emergencies and chop life.
Dial star 770 hash for money emergencies and get easy and quick access to your money, loans, and other banking needs. EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank.
Text or buyer. Okay.
Buying insurance. Baby, why you lucky?
Baby. Now you can insure on WhatsApp with a quick and efficient buyer from Provident. Just add 0242 426 396 on WhatsApp now with Provident.
Man, you are covered.